And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to another Reddit series. Now, in this series, what I like to do is essentially go on to a subreddit series. I like to look for those questions that are essentially marked up in hopes to hit the masses on questions that you guys may have out there. So, this particular question I normally pick beforehand, and then I come on here and give my opinion, use my experiences and those things that I've learned to help you essentially tackle these different problems in your life. Now, the particular question I got today is an interesting question. I don't think I've actually hit on anything like this, but it's how to stop giving people so much unnecessary emotional energy. Well, I don't mean to say unnecessary, as I'm feeling I am bashing on myself for having feelings, so much so as unearned on their part. Given how I mean people, it is least personal sense. So this is a good question, right? This is something that I've talked about when it comes to dealing with other people, right? And understand that you have to manage your energy. And when you're talking about unnecessarily emotional energy, even stop giving people unnecessary emotional energy, you have to kind of look at those people in your life. Again, you only have so much allotted energy in your life or in your day. And when you are dealing with normal day-to-day occurrences, you have to understand your relationships, right? Your personal and professional relationships, but they should align with what your destiny is, right? What is your purpose? And I know I hit on that a lot, and a lot of people may be like, well, I don't know all that. I'm not aligned with my purpose. I don't even know what that is. But nonetheless, you should know those people in life that are toxic in your life, right? If you feel like you got personal, professional relationships in your life that are taking more energy than they're actually giving you, right? If you find that you are pouring emotions and everything into somebody else and they are not reciprocating any of that, you need to cut them off. Right? You need to step away is what you need to do. And that is extremely important because you find that you have people that, what are they called? Energy vampires, right? And energy vampires will go out there and they will take your effort, right? They enjoy taking other people's valuation, right? When someone is talking to you, you find that these people ultimately, right, that they like the attention. And so they'll take it. They'll take free attention. People will like that. But in turn, they won't reciprocate that, right? But if you pull back and stop, they'll start reciprocating. Maybe because of the lack thereof, your effort, only to find out later on that they soon fall back into a cycle and, start not reciprocating once you start reciprocating again. And so that's something to keep in mind, something to be keep mindful about, and where your energy is going when it's coming to this, right? So you really need to audit. And I know it's extremely hard because a lot of times, right, we're caring people, right? We don't want to see people suffer. We want to be there for people. We want to be honest. We want to be open. We want to do all these different things and give people, their best version of ourselves. Right, and understand that, yes, we understand life happens, but it's still not an excuse to not reciprocate, right? That people that mean something in your life, you should reciprocate effort on their behalf, right? You should show them that you appreciate their presence, right? Because time is the most valuable thing, and if you can't appreciate somebody's time, right, you should let them walk away. You should do these things, right? And ultimately understand that when you are trying to stop giving people unnecessary energy, that's ultimately because you have people in your life that are just taking it without reciprocating. And you, again, have to cut those people off. Those people will continue to take as much as they can. And again, when they see that you are not giving, they will give until you start giving some back, right? But it's ultimately realizing if the cycle keeps repeating, that again, you need to just pull away. That relationship, whatever it is, personal, professional, is a toxic relationship, right? It's not healthy to drift apart like this, right? And be the only giving, right? And you find that when you're only giving, you get burnt out. And this is where you're at. Essentially, if you're posting this question, that is where you're at. You're burnt out. You're tired of giving and not receiving. and not having that reciprocation, right? You should always have the expectation not to receive anything. I do believe in that. But again, ultimately, being said, there should still be something there, right? Like if you want someone to remain in your life, you need to reciprocate some forth effort, right? That's completely fair. But ultimately understand that if you are giving too much, you find that you're emotional drained, right? Or you find that you're with this person, and a lot of times you may care so much about a particular person, more personal, on a personal level. You may care so much for a person when in fact you're not seeing it anymore. Maybe that person feels like they can't tell you, they don't want to call it off in bad terms, whatever the case is. But ultimately understand that if that's the case, you need to let that person know, right? Or you need to just walk away. And as much as you don't want to, right, you may feel like, well, this is the right person and blah, 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 right? But ultimately understand that you can't make somebody care for you, right? I don't know if this is a personal, professional, whatever the case is. If it's a personal, if you're trying to get that person to fall for you, whatever the case is, and they're just not reciprocating, you need to cut it off at that point, walk away from that, because again, it is not worth your effort, right? Life is too short. And I think when we look at this, when we start getting older, this perspective comes more into play, and understand that how important it is on where your time and your energy goes, right? Because you only got so much, and we tend to forget that, right? Like it's already halfway through 2021, and it's time flies. The past year and a half has really flown, right? We are going through a pandemic, and then being said, I think time, we kind of forget what day it is most of the time, right? And so this year and a half has really just kind of flown by. And being said, right, is ultimately understand that it matters where that time and that energy goes, and to people who will reciprocate it, people who do want to be in your life, right? And they'll make that known, right? And it shouldn't require that much effort, right? I do believe there should be an exchange of effort there. It shouldn't just be one-sided. If it's too one-sided, lopsided, you'll get exhausted. And again, yes, you can care for a lot of people, but again, you need to know that is your ultimate, that's everybody's value, is their time and their energy. And if someone's willing to offer you that, you need to look and see who the people who are actually offering that and the people that are not, and then remove those people that are not. And again, as painful as that is, whatever that is, you need to come to the realization that that's what it is, and walk away, because it won't get better, right? Or not have that tie and come more out of it and approach where realizing that things are just temporary in your life, which is another standpoint you can come from, which is a viewpoint I come from, essentially saying that, everybody's going to be temporary in your life. So that person wants to come, right? The door is open, right? You want to come into my life, you can come into my life. But don't, like they say, don't stand in the doorway. If you are unsure if you want to be in my life or not, don't stand there for somebody else to come in that doorway, right? You need to carry on and move on, ultimately, and not try to fill that gap, right? Or mislead people. I think is very hard in doing and understanding that, and knowing again where your energy is going, and modifying and auditing and consistently doing this is important. And if you can approach it again with that temporary aspect in mind, right, you aren't going to allow people to, you give people your best effort, but your expectation is that, okay, well, this person could easily leave my life, right? And be okay with that whole not, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about receiving back. Yes, it would be nice to receive back, but ultimately understand that it is what it is, right? If I'm not going to get it here, I'm going to carry on, right? I'm not going to allow someone to stand in my doorway. I will create a new doorway if I need to, and I will just continue to move on, right? It's ultimately an approach you can take, right? So there's two different approaches you can take. Again, just taking one different approach, right? It's ultimately what fits your life, right? But what you ultimately have to understand here is either one, you can't take it personally, or two, you eliminate those people, right? You be more upfront about it and say, okay, take action and just drop those people out of your life, right? Either when you are dropping that person out of your life, one, which it's more of a, well, I'm not going to let you personally hurt me, right? You're taking it emotionally and personally because you want to leave my life, or am I going to actually just completely cut you off because I've seen the patterns, right? And that's ultimately what matters. And so when you're dealing with this, it does take time, does take effort, but ultimately understand it is up to you and how you want to deal with a particular situation. Ultimately, you have to deal with it in one way or the other, right? So I'm giving you some options here. I'm not going to come on here and just straight tell you do it this way and that's the correct way. The two ways I offered are ways that do help, right? There may be other alternative ways that help, right? But ultimately understand what you ultimately need to do is take some sort of action. Either let it go and realize that it's only temporary, and you're going to continue to move on with your life and not stop and make adjustments for trying to make everybody happy, because you can't make everybody happy. That is not just going to happen. And realizing the value of your time and your energy are the two main keys of what you have, right? That's where you hold your value, and where are you spending that, right? Is your currency going somewhere where it is being appreciated? If it's not, you need to look for something else, and taking a different mindset approach to that can help you better get over that, get through that. And so that's what you need to ultimately understand. So remember, if you do like this video, to hit the like button on the way out. Till next time, I will see you guys later.